OK 嘛？未得，仲有 OK。OK， 未得，我行開少少啊。哦，
中間英文
OK，
中間 OK 咪？
係啦 ，low 同埋開明先 ，OK。OK， low 同埋Joe 可唔可以半圓少少？係啦，咁樣。圍住係嘛 ？OK。Round OK。OK。Okay. May I please be seated? May I now invite Captain Chris Campus, Director of Flight Operations, to share his opening remarks.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see such a big turnout of media from both in Hong Kong and in the Greater Bay Area from the Chinese mainland. And a big welcome here to Cathay City. I know many of you have been here before, but for those that have not been here before, you're very welcome to be part of this team here today, and also as a visitor to this organization we're very proud of, which is the airline here in Hong Kong, one of the airlines, and certainly the one that's probably the best known. So what about that then? It's 2025 now, and we are now well past the pandemic, and we're into a year which I would say is a different year to the previous years immediately after the pandemic. In 2023 and 2024 especially, we were really focused on growth, on rebuilding what we had to come out of from COVID. So we spent a lot of time and resource on the numbers, you might say. As we've got into 2025 and we're starting to stabilize and find that we have the numbers we need across the organization in terms of aircraft, in terms of pilots, and our overall resourcing, we're into a different part of our journey after COVID. This is an opportunity for us to build and to grow. And what we've seen in this time is, how did that happen? How did we get to a point of growth? And the real growth has come from things like the 3 runways coming into operation, the fact that all our aircraft have come back from Alice Springs, and from the piloting point of view, as well as other employees in the company, our employee numbers getting to the numbers we need for a steady state and organic growth going forward. So the 3 runway system has enabled us to grow to the point that we were able to tell the good news story of going back to 100 or achieving 100 destinations about 2 months ago. And we're not stopping there, of course. We have got several more destinations to open as we go forward. But the overall growth has been extremely positive as we come out of COVID and move forward towards 2030. Not only that, but in terms of that growth and the extra destinations, we've also been able to look at our unique position. We are uniquely placed here in Hong Kong. We have strong, deep roots in Hong Kong. We are proudly part of China, and we are connected to the world. It's what we would call a tripod strategy, which places us well in a unique position to gain the opportunities that come from being here in our home, Hong Kong. Now, for many years, we have had a cadet scheme which has sourced its candidates and pilots from Hong Kong. That has resulted in a very successful outcome with already over 1,000 pilots in the company who were trained through the cadet scheme. What is quite astounding, though, is since COVID, we have put over 1,100 pilots through the cadet scheme, and those 1,100 pilots came from Hong Kong. On top of that, since 2023, when we opened our doors beyond Hong Kong and looked to the great talent that exists in the Chinese mainland, we've been able to source a further 60 Chinese mainland cadets, and now some of them are qualified pilots. To get an idea of the number of people you need to source and select 60 pilots from the Chinese mainland, we had over 750 applicants. And from that, we now have 60 that are going through the system, and we are open to many more in the future, and we look forward to that. The 30 that have qualified have come out of training in Australia, but there are others that are in training in the United States as well at the moment when they come through. The 30 that are here now, we have two today, Lou and Robert, who are joining Kirsty and Joe. All four of these pilots are ex-cadets. Lou and Robert are recently trained from Flight Training Adelaide, and Joe and Kirsty go back and show us the legacy, which is the cadet scheme, and what can be achieved as a cadet pilot. The opportunities that we present here in Cathay for career development from the very beginning all the way through, you might say, to retirement when that finally happens. So these are what we're here for, and the growth of the cadet scheme is really important because we see that as an ongoing source of pilots, but not the only source. It's a great news story that we have such diversification across the cadet scheme, not only in Hong Kong, but also coming out of the Chinese mainland. Ultimately, it's possible that we could have other cadets from beyond the Chinese mainland, but our clear focus is Hong Kong and the Chinese mainland for this source of talent. And we've been very lucky, too, to be able to build our diversification of pilots through the cadet scheme. Our overall number of female pilots in Cathay at the moment is just short of 9%, which is way above the global industry average among peers of around 4.5% to 5%. So we're very proud of that. And a large reason why we've been able to achieve this so far is through the percentage of new joining cadets that have gone through the scheme who are female. In our case, we have close to 20% of pilots that go on a cadets course are female. There's no particular target. We just take who is available at the time, so the courses fluctuate up and down, but we have absolutely no particular quota limit or anything like that. We work purely on what talent is available for us to start a course, and we've been extremely lucky with that. So this is a real good news story. The rate of training and the number of cadets we've had since the end of the pandemic has been a record. We won't sustain that because we don't need to. And we want to build a more steady state of growth as we go from 2025 towards 2030. But the opportunities presented by the strong hub created here in Hong Kong as Hong Kong Airport grows and the three-runway system gains full efficiency give us a real opportunity for growth. And the availability of pilots both from Hong Kong, the Chinese mainland, and the rest of the world will be the mainstay going forward. And I do purposely choose the rest of the world too, because they are also an important source of pilots for Cathay going forward. But without further ado, I want to take this good news story and hand it over to our cadet pilots and our other ex-cadet pilots. In fact, they're all ex-cadets, I should say. Our new pilots and our senior pilots who have come through the cadet scheme to share their stories with you, and you can get a sense of what they've been through so far. So I'd like to let Kirsty, Joe, Robert and Lou come forward. We're just going to step aside and move some seats in place here, and we'll continue from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Please be seated. May I now invite our pilot guest speakers to come forward and take a seat on the stage for the serving session. Let us introducing our speakers for today. Captain Joe Fong, Flying Training Manager and Base Training Captain. Captain Kirsty Smith, Deputy Chief Pilot and Senior Training Captain. Mr. Lo Lan, Second Officer, Airbus Fleet. Miss Lo Lan, sorry. Mr. Robert Sun, Second Officer, Airbus Fleet. Thank you. Please take a seat. Yeah.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Robert and Lou. First of all, congratulations to all. Your job well done.
Thank you so much.
Now you, both of you have been working as a second officer online, we say. So, Robert, can you share with us about your experience on your first flight?
Yeah, my first flight was going to San Francisco with training captain Fred. He gave me a lot of good experience from his past, and he really knows the aircraft system from inside out. All my questions to him, he patiently went through every single one of them, and extra from what's on the syllabus, he actually gave me a lot of good advice both in terms of like flying and also living a life as a pilot as well.
Thank you. And now I want to move on to Lou. Lou, can you also share with us about your first flight experience?
Yes, of course. So I was very exciting first time sitting on the operating seat. So although I'm sitting still in the back at the moment, but when we were lining up on the runway and then we put the full thrust, flex thrust, then the aircraft accelerating and then that push to my back make me really realize like, wow, like I'm already an airline pilot. I'm working for Cathay Pacific. That was a dream come true moment for me.
Wow, yes. Thank you.
And a question for both of you. It's an exciting life being a pilot, and if you would share maybe the high point of your training so far, but also explain to some of our media guests some of the challenges that come with this career.
I would say for the highlights of my pilot's life now, it's not really actually in the cockpit. Like I'm not saying I'm not enjoying every single second in the cockpit. Like it's my dream come true, like flying an actual aircraft. But when we arrive at our destinations and see some of our like my friends that I have been seeing for like past 10, 15 years, I think that's like the highlight of my life, and I think that's one of the reasons why we have the airlines is just to connect people all over the world. Yeah, and in terms of the stressful part, I would say the first time I was in the cockpit alone while the other pilot going to the lavatory, that was like really stressful for me for the first few minutes. But we have a really robust training in place, so like all the emergency procedures is like muscle memory already. So after like maybe 3-5 minutes, I start to get used to the situation and actually really focused on the monitoring the aircraft to make sure everything goes smoothly. Yeah.
Thanks, Robert. Can I ask you the same questions, Lee?
Yeah, of course. So for me, I would share a little bit about my training in Adelaide. So to me, actually coming from a different background and to come to the airline industry and come to the Cadet pilot job, the study part is quite hard, and especially we have to pass a 15 Hong Kong CAD exam in a very short time. So the study pressure is there, but at the same time, I think one of the great things about the Cadet pilot program is we have so many peers working with us together. We have also the seniors also working, so studying in the school, that give us so many advice. And also actually on my first flight, I was so focused on the actually operating part of the flight. So actually my training captain took his personal time in our layover to actually go through some of the theoretical questions with me. And I was really appreciated. And I think that's our pilot culture as well, help each other. And that I'm sure following my career, I would also be able to offer help to whoever is needed.
Wow, Robert, Lou, you both reminded me, I'm sure Kirsty would agree with me, that you have reminded me of a lot of the old memories. I think it would be fair for them to ask us some questions too.
Okay, then.
Yeah, sure. So a question for you, Joe. So do you mind to shine more light on like your career path, and also how do you stay fit both in terms of like physical and mental, like balancing your work as management, your work as a pilot, and also your life?
Okay, Robert. In terms of my career path, I started off my career exactly like you both. I started off as a second officer in Cathay Pacific, except that was in Kai Tak Airport many years ago. And I've been very, very lucky. I was able to develop my career, fulfilling my dreams, with a lot of help, like you said, from many, many inspiring teachers in Cathay. So it's been an extremely, extremely rewarding career for me. I was very fortunate to have met many mentors who taught me a lot of lessons, both inside and outside of the cockpit. And also, later on in my career path, I was also able to meet with a lot of mentees, as well as many lifelong friends. In terms of you mentioned a career and also
balance of
balance, physical and mental, correct. I think the one word that came to mind would be balance. And I think as a professional pilot, we are trained to observe boundaries and also memorizing limitations and whatnot, right? So I think striking a balance between work and private life is very, very important. I'll give you an example. If when you go to Outport and fly, right? So I think you should seize the opportunity to go to the city you may not have been in before, to explore the city, enjoy the cuisine, and meet new people and all of that. At the same time, make sure you are back in the hotel with enough time to rest and also to prepare. So I think the secret to success for me is striking the balance and knowing when you need to make the adjustment as necessary.
That's why the both of them working in the industry for more than 20 years and still looking so good. So I have a question to Kirsty. So actually we are old acquaintance already. Kirsty have been visiting us in Adelaide for a few times. So Kirsty, as my personal role model and as such a great senior training captain, female training captain, and as well as now management in the deputy chief, that's actually my boss, so deputy chief pilot in the Airbus. So what's your journey like, and what support actually for us to have in our company?
Thanks, and that's very kind of you to say. I think representation is very important, and like yourself, I've been very lucky in my career in Cathay, which has been quite long, and I hope it carries on for much longer, to have some great role models, but also some inspiration from some of our leaders, not just our trainers, but also our leaders in positions like I have now. And I think we see it as very important in Cathay to nurture that. It's a lifelong career. This isn't a job you come for a year or two. I'm looking at 2 future captains here, 2 future training captains. That's the way we treat our ex-cadets and second officers. So yes, great personal achievement, but also gratitude that I've been in a company that has supported that and has inspired me to go forward too. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you all for the sharing. May I now invite Captain Campus joining our pilots on stage for the media Q&A session. For media friends, if you would like to ask a question, kindly raise your hand. I'll call on you, and one of our colleagues will hand you a microphone. Please state your name and the media organization you work for. Please feel free to ask questions in Cantonese, Putonghua, or English. Danny from Bloomberg.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to ask our new pilots, what kind of gave you the inspiration to enter the aviation industry, and was there any kind of interest, or did you work in the airline industry before, even from cabin crew to on the ground, for example?
Right, that's actually exactly my story. So I was a cabin crew member for a Middle Eastern airline after I graduated from university. And then during the 2 years I was there, I met so many inspiring pilots that gave me that courage and give me that actually the story that how they became pilot. So that was kind of the inspiration for me. And then of course I did trial flight before that actually go through this path. And then yeah, so I did, and I really enjoyed it. So that's why I chose to pursue this career instead. Yeah.
So for me personally, my inspiration came from the first time seeing a A380 taking off from Beijing, and seeing such a massive aircraft taking off is really, really impressive. And later on, I was into like aviation photographing, so I took a lot of good pictures. Then after I graduated from college, my dream was become a pilot, but for some limitations, I wasn't able to achieve my dream back then. So I worked as a mechanic for Cathay Pacific in Beijing for 5.5 years. And yeah, after that, after COVID, Cathay opened up to mainland cadets, so I applied right away.
Okay. Any other questions from the floor? This one. You.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andrew from Oriental Press. I want to know that for the director quiz, you mentioned that you may recruit more candidates from other cities in the world, not only Hong Kong and mainland. Do you have the next plan? Which city or which country you would like to include the new members? And also, I want to know the difference between training program in US and the Australia. I know you have to train in these two countries. Is there any difference about the training content? Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Firstly, with respect to recruiting cadet candidates or pilots for training and the cadet scheme from outside of China, specifically Hong Kong and the Chinese mainland. This will be something we keep open essentially to people that have previously been in Hong Kong or have a connection to Hong Kong. In other words, people, for example, that have some sort of Hong Kong ID or that kind of thing. We don't intend to open this up carte blanche to anyone overseas. The other group would be those from the top talent, the top universities that qualify according to the scheme. That's the sort of the limit of the people we'd employ outside of China. When it comes to the different courses, essentially you're doing the same. At the moment, we have a full course in Adelaide, which is a course that runs from beginning to end, ground school, flying, all the theory and flying is done in one place. The new course, which is broken into different modules, we do with the ground training in Hong Kong, followed by the flying either in Adelaide or in Australia, in other words, or in Phoenix in Arizona, United States. There is essentially no difference in the flying because the training is done for a Hong Kong license. And that means that we have to follow what's called the CAD 509 course, 509 Alpha, which is approved by the CAD at the different institutions that we use for training. So therefore, though they're in different parts of the world, the standard of training, the type of training, the whole syllabus is exactly the same.
Okay, and Oscar from SMP.
Hello, everyone. First up, a question for Robert and Du. How do you find your life as pilots in Hong Kong so far? And Mr. Canvas, what specific beyond training support is Cathay providing to your mainland cadets to truly integrate into Hong Kong life and culture to foster them a long-term retention and success? And last time you mentioned there are 2,600 pilots in February. Is the number changing now? And how confidently can Cathay current cadet expansion alone fill the critical shortage of the experience like first officer and captains? Or are there more aggressive direct entry recruitment strategy actively being pursued in the near future? Thank you.
Okay, so I'll go with the first question. So first of all, I'm not a big fan of the climate here, that's for sure. I'm from northern China, where it is normally cooler than this in summer. But other than that, I find people here really friendly, and I have a lot of friends from both the cadet program and also meeting them in Cathay City. anytime I have any questions, there will be like other Hong Kong locals or people living in Hong Kong for a long time. They'll be more than happy to give me advices and help me with whatever issue I have. So I would say it's pretty smooth for me to move here to Hong Kong.
From my experience, I'm also from the northern part of China, but since university, I've been living and studying in the Greater Bay Area. Now towards our staff, not only pilot, also cabin crew, and also ground staff of the company allow us to have a longer commute time and to let us, not me personally, but to have other colleagues that can commute from the Greater Bay Area to Hong Kong and to come to work in Cathay City. So that I think also helped a lot of other staff in our company to be able to live around. Yeah.
Chris.
With respect to the question around helping our new colleagues integrate into the company, as well as making them happy and want to stay on, the process is basically generic, i.e., we look after our pilots in the same way across the board. We obviously are here to identify them as individuals as well. So if any individual need is required, we have a structured system within flight operations and the greater company for flight crew relations, where teams of people are available to address those needs. Of course, support with respect to the benefits that Cathay have is available evenly across the ex-cadet cohort, and then subsequently as they progress through their careers. There's no specific identification that because you've come from the Chinese mainland, you need special help. But if any help is ever needed in any way, we will give it. And we have a very, as I said, apart from the structured scheme, we have assistance networks which are there to help any pilot in need at any time. And specifically because pilots are a particular group who fly in a particular way, they have their lifestyle and their type of work they do does point towards a need for a particular type of support. So one of the things we're very proud of is actually the peer assistance network called PAN, which is our pilots themselves looking after other pilots. And that makes it easier for people, I would believe, to actually speak to someone who's of the same level as them and give them the opportunity to listen to a problem, to then direct someone to getting the help they need. But broadly speaking, in terms of your answer, there's no particular differentiation. What was the other part of your question? It was the hours.
The pilot shortage, I think.
You talked about 2,600 pilots when I last spoke, or when it was last mentioned to you. We now have 3,200 pilots in Cathay Pacific and another 500 plus in HK Express, which we consider obviously as part of the group. But if you look at Cathay right now, in terms of the team that's in front here, 3,200 pilots is how many we have. That's, in terms of pure numbers, slightly over what we actually need at this point, but give or take exactly what we need. You talk about the influx of junior pilots and ex-cadets and therefore the reduction in experience levels. It is true that overall experience levels have dropped slightly as the airlines around the world have taken pilots on after the pandemic. But we have gateways and milestone positions in place to make sure that critical qualifications and promotions are not done until minimum experience is achieved. Now, of course, when you look at the number of pilots you bring in and what experience level they're at, you have to look at what you project is going to be needed at those different milestone points or the experience gateways to get to the next higher rank. And when we project ahead, because we have already taken in a number of direct entry first officers and been lucky to re-employ close to 300 pilots back into Cathay, either from what was Cathay Dragon before the pandemic, as well as pilots that were previously with us on bases, for example, that have come back. That has helped keep the experience level higher. And we found now with that combination, plus a few more direct entry, but no big drive for more, really, just a steady, slow intake to keep the numbers right. We now project that essentially we can promote. The good news story is we can promote. There will be enough time in rank to get to what we need to achieve the promotions we need.
Okay. So next question, I think we'll go to Samuel from Southern Metropolis.
Hello, Samuel from Southern Metropolis Daily. Have a question for Captain Campus. So, Cathay has signed cooperative agreements with several civil aviation universities in China for talent training. So, going forward, will we explore the possibility of training pilots in the Chinese mainland with these universities or other tertiary education institutions? So, another question for Captain Fong in Cantonese. 所以首批嘅呢啲內地嘅飛行員咧，呢啲機師咧，去執行呢啲航線咧，主要有邊啲嘅航線咧？點樣保證佢哋可以喺呢個第二副駕駛嘅位置上面咧，快速得到一個充分嘅訓練咧，從而係獲得一個職業發展嘅進一步嘅提升嘅？唔該晒 ，thank you。
Thank you. With respect to the flying training providers that we have, as you say, historically we have 2 at the moment. The one has been with us for over 30 years in Australia. A more recent one post the pandemic has been in Arizona, United States. They will remain as key providers of training for us. However, you're very right. We are always exploring other opportunities. And the next likely area to explore, the one that we are exploring, is engaging with universities in mainland China, in particular universities that have got an aviation history. And we are working with them, and we expect that we will see whether we can achieve progress and actually go into expanding into the Chinese mainland for pilot training in the months ahead. We should be able to make some final decisions around that. Yeah.
至於訓練方面咧，其實無論你個背景係中國或者係世界各地唔同嘅國家嘅人啦，包括我哋香港本地嘅二副駕都係一樣噶啦。我哋都係根據我哋一個既定好嘅一個嘅訓練計劃啦、訓練系統咧，去俾佢哋有足夠嘅準備。而喺佢哋嗰個由二副駕去進行呢個訓練，到佢哋成為第一副駕駛，到佢成為機長、訓練機長，以後嗰個路咧，其實都係同其他我哋所有航空公司嘅同一個職級嘅飛行員咧，都係同一個方法去訓練。當然頭先我哋Captain Campus 都講到就係話我哋雖然有一個統一嘅系統、同一個方法去訓練我哋嘅機師啦，但係我哋對於每一位機師其實都係一個個別嘅人嚟嘅。咁所以我哋都會根據每一個人本身嘅需要咧，去作出調整。
好，再下頭先係咪有個商台嘅同朋友
？Hello， 你好，商台㗎。首先想問一下，就是畢業生，就是想問一下，為什麼會選擇國泰航空？就是有什麼吸引你們呢？有了解過與國內的訓練有什麼分別嗎？之後都想問下機師啦，都想問下，即係其實啱啱行家都有問到話，呢啲見習機師畢咗業之後，其實都想知道佢哋主要嗰個航線係飛邊度啦，同埋即係平時溝通上會都有啲困難咁樣。唔該。
好，我可以回答这个问题。首先，其实我从2018年就已经开始了解国泰航空的招聘，因为当时在招聘第2副驾的时候呢，有了解到国泰作为一个国际化的航空公司，对于我们不同背景的申请者是同样对待的，那我们都是同样的合资格的申请人，然后。所以在2023年，国泰航空面向中国内地申请者开放我们的飞行学员的计划的时候，我也很开心能够有这个机会。在其他国家或者是中国内地的申请过程中呢，可能会有各种不同的限制，而不是单一的看我们的工作能力和我们真正有的这些资格。所以说我一直有关注国泰航空的这个招聘，所以才第一时间就投递了简历，然後也是順利成為了我們飛行學院的一部分。
答翻你個問題，關於二副駕駛佢哋去咩航線啦？其實佢哋作為一個 second officer 咧，其實係當然一方面係好辛苦啊，好多嘢都係好新嘅，對於佢哋嚟講，需要付出好多嘅時間同埋努力去做好多準備。但係我記得咧，當時我做二副駕駛嘅時候咧，都係一個蜜月期嚟嘅。點解我咁講咧？佢哋去啲航線都係一啲非常之好嘅航線啦，去到啲好多基本上就係一啲 long haul flight。咁因為喺嗰個 長途機嘅我哋嗰個駕駛艙裏邊嗰個職能分配上面咧，我哋係需要到second officer 二副駕呢個工作呢個功能嘅。咁主要就係長途嘅機。咁至於你講到溝通上面咧，其實我諗大家都可以感受到，其實我哋係Robert 同埋 Lou 啦，由我哋開始到而家，即係我相信大家都對佢哋嘅溝通嗰個技能同埋呢個表現咧非常之滿意啦。咁絕對唔會有呢個問題。同埋我可以強調一樣嘢就係我哋多元文化啦、多元背景啦，但係喺我哋工作上邊咧，我哋都係用英語嚟到做呢個嘅工作嘅語言嘅。
OK，剛才呢一位係咪 OK？請你講你個機構。
Hello， 大家好，我係廣州電視台嘅駐港記者，咁就有幾條問題啦。咁首先第一個問題會係問翻阿 Jo 啦，即係話今次我哋係首批嘅內地嘅呢個見習嘅飛行員啦畢業啊，咁就好想問下話，即係整個過程中啦，你對佢哋有咩印象啦？即係覺得佢哋嘅成個培訓過程中嘅表現點樣啦？咁同埋內地嘅呢一啲飛行員同埋其他之前喺世界各國招收嘅一啲有咩相同點同埋不同點啦？咁同埋點解國泰會喺2023年嘅時候嚟去開始呢個計劃，就係招收我哋內地嘅飛行員？咁可能先請阿 Jo 回答咗，然之後我再問兩位嗰個飛行員嘅問題。
多謝你問題。咁至於同內地嘅飛行員去做訓練啦、去接觸啦、合作啦。我個人嚟講咧，真係多咗一份親切感嘅。真係作為自己都係中國人啦。至於佢哋嘅表現咧，我可以話咧係非常之理想。但係唔係單止佢哋嘅，其實我哋所有嘅選擇選拔出嚟嘅飛行嘅學員咧、飛行訓練學員咧，都係需要達到我哋個高標準。同埋一個卓越嘅一個嘅要求啦，同埋最主要頭先其實Captain Kirsty Smith 嗰度講到啦，佢哋其實你哋而家睇到嘅咧，或者我睇到咧，唔係兩位second officer 二副駕咁簡單，而係兩位未來嘅機長同埋訓練機長。點解我哋咁講咧？其實我哋一直強調都係我哋睇到嘅係佢哋嘅潛質。咁而我所見到嘅咧，亦都係好開心啦，可以能夠同內地好多新嘅一啲人才去做呢個合作啦。咁呢個喺呢方面咧係非常之滿意嘅。
唔好意思，我諗我要去另一位記者。呢一位跟住到 Danny 好冇？呢位係請你講你個機構。
你好，我是來自航旅圈的記者，就是想請問兩位內地的飛行員，能不能就是用普通話再簡單的自我介紹一下加入國泰之前的一些經歷？然後我想問一下兩位，目前就是從阿德萊德畢業之後到進入那個第二副駕駛這個崗位，大概還會經歷哪一些的一些培訓？那目前主要是飛什麼機型？大概一個月會飛多少時間？目前大概都飛了哪些目的地？有什麼比較難忘的經歷？然後跟自己之前加入國泰之前的預期有沒有什麼區別
？I think I need to note it down.
很多問題，對，你們慢慢回答。
It's longer than the ATC instructions. 各位媒體朋友，大家好，我叫連絡，來自黑龍江大慶，我今年30歲，我畢業於北師香港浸會大學的國際新聞專業，在加入國泰航空作為第二副駕之前，曾經在中東的航空公司做一名空乘，然後也在國內的一家公司的中東分公司作為行政人員，然後在2023年。加入，其實2023年3月的時候，我是投遞了我的簡歷，然後一直到2025年5月，正式上線，完成我們的最後的考核，正式上線，所以大概是2年多的這個時間。然後我們主要這個直飛的航線呢，像Captain 方已經說了，其實我們是主要所有的這個長線，比如說洲際航線。那我個人也是已經去了像北美啊、歐洲啊、澳洲這一類的地方，然後也非常期待能夠繼續作為 A350機隊的這個第二副駕，探索我們國泰更多的目的地。
大家好，我叫孙玉明，今年也是30岁。在来国泰之前，我本科是在弗吉尼亚理工大学读的，然后读的是计算机和电子工程2个专业。其实应该成为码农的，但是在毕业之后，因为对航空非常热爱，所以加入了国泰北京的工程部。然后呢，在北京工程部作为机械员，做了有5年半的时间。然后也是在23年的2月份的时候投了简历。然后我们是去年从阿德莱德培训回来的，然后11月份进了公司签的合同。那么之后一直到4月份之前吧，我们都在做这个350机型的一些培训，然后于4月末完成了这个航线检查，然后开始了以2副机师这个身份进行直飞。目前为止去过的目的地呢，也其实比较多了，但是也是像北美、欧洲和澳洲这些地方，因为我们飞的都是长途航线。然后加入国泰作为这个2副机师之后，比较开心的一件事就是还是我刚才用英文回答媒体的那个事情，就是能够在全球各个地方去见一些自己已经多年未见的一些朋友，其中有很多朋友是比如说我们有10年甚至15年都没有见过的。我觉得这是非常激动也非常开心的一件事吧。然后还有其他
差不多，没关系。我们等一下还有机会你们两位单独跟媒体来做一些访问。I think we still got time for a few questions. Like Danny, I think it's your privilege.
Thank you very much, Captain Campus. Can I be quite clear on the component about mainland China as a way for training pilots? Do you mean specifically that it could be the equivalent of what you've got in Phoenix and Adelaide in future, that you could have a pilot training base in mainland China in future? And the second question I have is, you talked about 2025 numbers, you talked about the longer term vision, and particularly with the third runway up to 2030. What does that 2030 plan look like in terms of the growth and the size and the opportunities that abound for Cathay and Cathay pilots?
I'll start with the first one in terms of the training schools. As I mentioned, yes, we got the 2 schools in Australia and in the United States. And we have both of those, particularly with the second option when we chose it was as a result of an RFP that went out to multiple schools around the world. So we're open.
This is Phoenix, to be clear.
Phoenix, to be clear, yeah. Which meant that we then chose Phoenix as the best option amongst a selection of schools around the world. At that stage, we hadn't looked at any options in the Chinese mainland. Since then, with the development of, I wouldn't say the development of the schools, they've been there for a long time in the Chinese mainland, but our ability to access and use them as potential training centres has been examined much more closely. And we are certainly examining them in the same way. So if we decide to do it, we would follow the same model that we're following in Australia and the United States. That's correct, yes. Now, regarding 2030 vision, that is something that's still got to be defined by the company in terms of long term, but obviously our growth is global. It's very global, and we are as an organisation looking to expand in the 3 areas I've talked about. Firstly, making maximum use of the Hong Kong hub as it grows and the 3-runway system improves. Our destinations in the Chinese mainland are extremely important to us, and we're looking to grow them as much as we possibly can. And the same applies to our global network, because we have a very big long-haul footprint and profile in the world in terms of our branding. So all of that applies. But the detail around that I won't go into now. I mean, that will come as we go forward with what will be revealed in future communications. Yeah.
Okay, I think we've got time for a few more questions. Yeah, the lady in the back, and then you.
Hi, this is RTHK English News. To the 2 cadets or ex-cadets, you mentioned this in Mandarin already, but can you talk a little bit about why you chose to join the Cathay Cadet pilot program over other programs, and what the application process was like for you. And for Chris, what qualities do you look for when recruiting cadets? And also, I know the program recently graduated its first batch of students who underwent ground training here in Hong Kong through Cathay Academy. And so can you talk about what this means for Cathay's in-house development of talent? Thank you.
Okay, so before I joined the cadet program, I actually worked for Cathay, so I know Cathay actually cares a lot about its employees. And also, during the training for engineering department, I came to Cathay City. And the first time I got here, I saw all the different people with different colors working together in Cathay City together. And I really enjoyed that kind of like a big blend pot for different cultures around the world. You get to meet different people from different area, and you get to learn their culture. I think that's really exciting. And yeah, and as an example, why like after I chose join the cadet program, after I started working as a second officer, my wife was about to give birth to our second child. Then on our last checkup, the doctor says we have to do the C-section tomorrow because the fetus is not really in good condition. I actually had a flight within 24 hours. So I called crew control, and within like 30 minutes, they get me the compassionate leave I need to stay with my wife for the C-section. So like, I just think in general that Cathay really take good care of its people. So that's one of the really big reasons I joined Cathay.
So my personal experience, I've been, as I mentioned, living in the Greater Bay Area for the past years. I think with the Hong Kong as the international hub, and also the government policy more open to talents around the world, I think that's also the reason that more talents, especially for our company, were hired and coming to work in such an international and multicultural environment. And I think that's greatly appreciated by myself and also by all of our colleagues as well. So, yeah.
And we're very pleased to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As far as what are we looking for? I think the most important thing there is someone who is demonstrating a passion for aviation, a passion to do the job. They have a good understanding of why they want to do it. They don't need to necessarily know every detail or to be able to fly an aeroplane. We can teach you that. What we want is someone who is passionate to become part of an aviation organization and to fly specifically for Cathay Pacific. And when we do that, we'll take you, we'll train you, we'll grow you. And our experience has been very, very positive in this regard. If you're open to learning, we can teach you. And that's really what we're looking for. There was a second part to your question as well, there wasn't there?
Second part.
Yes, the in-house training program, thank you for reminding me. Basically, our plan is to transition to the modular course throughout. So in other words, everyone that goes through the training course, this cadet program, would do their ground training in Hong Kong. Now, we have a partnership with the Hong Kong Poly U at the moment, and that has been very fruitful for us. But we've always wanted to use our own in-house facilities right here in Cathay Pacific, in the Cathay building, to actually provide that training. We have talented trainers. Either they were previously pilots themselves or they have been in the industry for a long time, and they're able to impart that knowledge. So we would like to do that as far as possible. So what we've seen now with successful graduates coming out of the whole program, and those graduates started in our internal training here at the Cathay Academy, is that this is what we will do going forward. That is our plan, and as far as possible, we will train through the Cathay Academy. But that's not to say that we won't continue with our partnership with the Hong Kong Poly U, which has been very fruitful, as I say.
Okay, we have the last question from this media friend. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm from TVB News, and I have a question. It's about I want to ask the scale of the mainland pilot and the Hong Kong pilot. What would be the recruitment strategy, and I also want to ask that the salary would the salary be changed after the mainland pilot join and maybe Cathay? Thank you.
If you mean the scale, I understand how many do you think? As I mentioned, we've had a very large number of people come into the cadet scheme since the pandemic. That will come down to a lower number in future years. We don't have a specific quota, but I do say that Hong Kong is our home. So within China, Hong Kong is where we look primarily for our talent source. But we recognize that the Greater Bay Area and the greater area of the Chinese mainland has enormous talent and potential. So we will always be interested and open to people who express an interest in becoming pilots in Cathay from the Chinese mainland. The scale will vary according to demand, and we will work that into our plans on a year-by-year basis as we work forward on the growth.
On the remuneration.
Remuneration is exactly the same. There's no difference between someone from the Chinese mainland and someone from Hong Kong in terms of remuneration. We have the same remuneration process and package. There's no differentiation at all.
Okay, this concludes our media session. May I also ask our media friends, now we have another photo op, just a very quick photo for our media friends who some will be quick coming late. Can we please all stand up, and then we can move them chairs and then move the aircraft back here. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the same position. Yeah. Yeah, or you can try a new combination. 等等啊，小心。嚇？中間啊？中間 ，OK。Wrapping around, OK。嚇？SO 你話？等一陣佢會嚟㗎啦，佢兩個會企出嚟嘅，係影晒未？各位傳媒朋友都可以睇住呢個 QR code 嗰度就有我哋嗰啲 briefing note 啊，同埋啲相嘅。好，影晒未？大家齊啦咪 ？Okay, so this concludes our media sessions for now. May I now ask Lo and Robert to stay on for a quick media stand up? Thank you, Kirsty and Joe. OK， 你影個相先，你不如好嘛？你兩個喺飛機後邊影個相先。
Kevin.
咪兜啊！係咪舉前啲啊？咁樣。我叫咪兜擺前啲。咪兜擺前啲，佢啲光夠唔夠？係啊。 Jackie，幫我擺下，等陣先啊，等麥到就幫我擺，順便講一個。點解要係嘛？小心啊！小心啊！呢度唔可以掂，唔好掂。嗰度有啲損傷。low 啊？係咪？我哋等陣會攞翻個咪兜落去嗰邊先。係啊。哦，而家唔使擺住。唔使等住，我哋等陣會擺翻個咪。係咯，不如一咪大家影啦，好唔好？因為真係時間有限。
先未問晒咩？仲有個咪拖環節嘅咁啊！我知。大家擺住咪度先啊！而家先數啊，先數得。
你如果你有膠紙，你轉個頭，你膠紙冇膠紙啊，就係唔好意思，我俾你先，我俾你問先，你擺低嘢先，你哋擺晒先啊，擺晒嘢先，頂住個，得得，好，因為我呢個會咁樣啊，所以係啦，你幫手摘住一下，好。慢慢嚟啊 ，OK。OK，咁而家兩位都同 Robert 兩位可以向大家訪問。你大家用翻你嘅語言去問得㗎啦。如果有需要嘅話，我會。hold 住先。幾位請講。等陣先。OK。我上拿話筒嗎？還可以直接問。等大家 set 好晒先。等大家 set 好咗先啊。後面有 cam。OK。OK， 耐得住，好。大家 set 好咗未？好 ，OK 啦。OK， 你位問先。準備。等先啦，好唔好 ？OK。等你哋講。
可以先往這裡拍一張照。
好，大家 OK 未 ？OK 啦，可以。OK 啦，roll 咯喎。
就是我想问一下，因为两位都是从工作几年之后从其他职业转到了飞行员，那我想问一下，相比业内所说的这个养成生，你们觉得，比如说从这个招聘行情啊，未来的晋升通道以及你们的训练成本有哪些相同和不同呢？
我想先说一下，其实对于我们香港本地的申请者来说的话，其实是 OK， 好，其实是有很多大学刚刚毕业的，没有任何工作经验的，甚至有高中毕业的同学，然后跟我们是在同一个培训项目来一起参加培训的。那我们其实也是养成生的一部分，只是公司来sponsor 我们做这个培训，所以我们是没有付费用在这边的。然后相同和不同的话， 没有什么不同，大家都是以同样的培训标准，包括刚刚提到的，不管是澳大利亚的课程还是美国的课程。不管是我们地面的培训课程是在当地完成，还是在 PolyU 或者是国泰学院培训的，其实我们的整个的培训的这个架构还有培训的内容都是一样的。
你好，凤凰卫视提问。然后我注意到2位都有戴眼镜啊，因为之前也了解过一些报道，说到那个内地的裸眼的那个要求可能会更高一些。就是你们怎么看待自己的这个眼睛，是否会在这个国泰的训练当中受到影响，还是说身边的其他同学也有很多是戴眼镜的？另外，在你们这个参加的这个训练当中啊，就是有多少人大概也是像你们一样的是内地的背景过来，可以和我们介绍一下？
好，首先周也有戴眼镜哈，对啊，现在的这个国际上的民航标准来讲的话，这个只要矫正视力足够到达我们不管是当地就是各个国家或者是地区的这个民航的1级体检标准就可以了。其实眼睛并不是一个问题，那甚至有做过激光手术的同事呢，他们只需要满足相应的检查的频率的标准呢，其实也是可以的。这个我觉得只是各国的这个要求而已。不会太去哪个国家或哪个地区不一样这种，然后在我们的培训班级里面呢，最后21名的同学，其中有6名是来自中国内地的，但是后面的话其实有更多的这个我们中国内地的学员完成培训，然后加入国泰航空。
然后我想还要补充一点，就是说这个有关于近视这一方面，我们不光是要在视力上要满足要求，同时如果要是近视度数比较深的话，是需要进行一个在眼科专科医生那里进行一个额外的一个检查，确保没有其他的眼底病变或者疾病，然后才可以满足这个体检要求。同时我们在执勤的时候呢，不光是要戴这一副眼镜，同时我们需要有一副备用的眼镜随身携带，以防这一副眼镜出现问题。那么这样来说的话，其实安全性也是没有问题的。
你好，首先我这边有2个问题啊。第一个问题2位都欢迎回答，就是你们觉得说对于国泰的这个安全文化有什么样的一个感受？有没有哪些让你感触比较深的地方？然后我也知道，就是说你们在不管是阿德莱德啊，或者说像罗莲你自己本身丈夫是另外一个航空公司的飞行员是吧？有没有了解过，就是说不同航空公司的这一个安全文化上面有没有什么不同？
以我个人的经验来讲，因为我是在其他航空公司工作过的，然后呢，我相信 Robert 应该了解更多的其他航空公司。那国泰的安全文化，在我来看是，可以说是无懈可击的。我觉得我们在各个不同的方面，从培训开始，一直到我们真的在运营的过程当中，然后包括我们的安全部门呢，也是经常会给我们更新这些信息，包括我们的这些培训机长呢，也会给到我们很日常的这样的一个更新。我们有过哪些的就是出现了哪些的安全的可能是隐患，然后呢，让我们在飞的这个直飞的飞行员，包括我们的空乘，包括我们其他的团队，都实时的有这个了解。那这样的话呢，会防止我们以后会发生这种安全问题。我觉得这个安全文化是我心中应该是非常的好，非常的专业的，对，非常的专业，
然后我来说一下，就是我之前在北京工作的一些经验吧，就是我觉得国泰一直都是以 safety first 这个口号来宣传我们的安全文化的。那么包括在北京工程部的时候，如果要是飞机有任何的故障，然后影响安全飞行的话，不管这个飞机我们需要摁在地上摁多久，我们都会把飞机留下，把这个故障清除之后再把飞机送走。同时也不会说有其他的压力给到我们说今天这架飞机什么时间必须走。那么我们永远都是先把应该做需要做的工作都做完了之后，才会把飞机放行。
然后我这边有第2个问题，就是说针对罗莲的，就是回望人类这个征服天空的历史，还有不少这个女性其实也是非常著名的这个航空英雄。那但是刚才我们也有在采访的时候有提到说，现在国泰大概可能是9%的这个飞行员是一个女性飞行员，这个数目甚至已经在行业边是比较高了。然后有些航空公司甚至会在妇女节那一天专门主办一些所谓的就是全女性机组的这个东西。想问一下说您对此有什么看法？然后你觉得说女性在作为飞行员这个职业上面会有什么样的挑战？还有就是如何去鼓励更多的女性加入飞行员这个行业，你有什么想说的？
好，首先我想跟大家确认一点的是，我们在经历所有的筛选过程当中呢，我们都是作为一个合格的申请者。来接受申请的，而没有所谓的我们一定要满足多大的比例这个是第一点要跟大家确认的。第二点是，不管是生理上还是心理上，我觉得作为一名女性飞行员，我们当然受到的挑战很多，但是我觉得没有什么是不可以征服的。既然是我们所热爱的行业，不管是各个行业都是这样的，既然是我们所热爱的、想做的一件事情，那我们都要尽最大的可能去做成功。然后我身边其实，在我们的一批培训的这个培训班级里面呢，其实有算上我自己是有5位女性的飞行学员。然后我相信每一个人他们其中的每一个都是凭着这份热爱，然后从各个背景，其实他们有这个 IT 行业的，有这个也是媒体朋友，然后转换行业来到作为我们国泰航空的一名飞行员。如果我能给到大家一个建议的话，就是希望大家可以坚持自己热爱的一个道路，也不要看其他人对你的看法。然后呢，到最后真正成功的时候，才可以像我这样站在大家的面前，跟大家讲，我现在是一名合格的航空飞行员。
最后3條嚇，呢一位想問。
Hello， 这里凤凰网提问，就我提问一个比较轻松一点的这个话题，大家活跃一下。就是想请问一下2位，就是穿上国泰制服进行首飞航班时候的一个心情，跟大家分享一下。然后家里人就是对你这个职业的这个选择有什么样的一个就是评价或者是支持家人提供了哪些？就轻松一点，自己轮流分享一下。
第一次飞行肯定是非常开心的，然后也很激动，然后就像洛姐之前说到的，当飞机这个把油门推上去，然后起飞的那一刻，真的就觉得自己的梦想成真了。然后至于家人的支持呢，我父母一直很支持我追求自己的梦想，然后我的爱人呢也是在我这个离家1年里面。在阿德莱德进行培训的这段时间里面，也一直在家带孩子，然后也在工作，然后也在照顾家庭，所以我非常感谢家人的这个对我的理解和支持吧。
其实我对穿制服然后走在机场这件事情可以多说2句因为之前呢。作为一个机组，在世界各地的机场，然后和大家大团队一起穿着制服，作为一名空乘人员，走在这个机场里面，受到大家的这个关注也是一个当时心里也是非常开心的。那作为一名飞行员，我觉得更多的是有一种责任感在身上，因为毕竟我们每一次不管是从航班下来，或者是我们走到飞机上面，我们都要带队，然后都要保持我们专业的形象。我觉得这个是非常重要的，我们也是公司的门面，但门面呢是这个专业和安全的门面我觉得这个是很重要的。然后对我的家里人呢，其实因为我先生也是还在航空业工作，所以他特别能理解我们飞行员的这种可能会经常离开家，然后呢过段时间再回来的这种心情。然后只能说，不管是我的先生小朋友，还是我的家里人给我的支持都是非常大的。他们在我这个转行的时候非常的相信我，我觉得这一点也是很重要。
我第一班是从香港飞的旧金山。
我是飞多伦多。
这是北美。还有2个问题。
这边朝西边有个问题我想问一下，就是2位你们未来的人生规划和职业规划大概是什么然后未来会不会考虑把家可以迁到香港落地
未来职业规划，我觉得可能就像Captain 周一样，就是一步一个脚印，然后慢慢在国泰。从现在是2副，然后做到副驾，然后希望有朝一日吧能升成机长。然后至于您说的第二部分呢，就是我现在已经其实把爱人和孩子已经接过来，在香港这边居住了。现在他们我感觉适应的也挺好的。
对于我来说的话，其实，我觉得我可能会更想，这个开拓一下我的职业发展的这个机会，因为像我们的 Captain Smith 一样，因为他从这个飞行员到培训机长，再到这个管理的角色，我觉得这个也是我非常 心动的，然后包括以后如果有机会在国泰航空的其他岗位做一些事情的话，我也是很开心的。那对于我的家庭来讲的话，暂时还没有像 Robert 一样把所有的家人都接来，但是对我们来说是一个非常不错的选择，因为我先生对在香港包括对在大湾区发展也是非常感兴趣。
最后一个问题。
你好，我是航空务员，有一个问题想问一下联络。就是我看到您之前呢。是在中东那家航司做空乘，
对，
然后再转行，再来国泰当飞行员。我觉得就是从空乘到飞行员这个转换也是很少有人能经历的一个过程。那您就是之前您在这个空乘这个岗位上的一些经历，和现在到这个国泰在飞行员这个岗位上的经历，这两个经历您在同时在这两个职业里面，您有什么您获得了什么，或者说就是空乘的这段经历对于您飞行员的这个工作有没有什么帮助？
对，其实空乘这个工作对我来说帮助非常的大，因为是我作为我们班级唯一一个有着在航空公司就真正的运营方面工作背景的人来讲的话，其实我们能更了解我们身后的团队对于我们所谓工作当中的一些要求，比如说真的在遇到气流的时候，比如说真的在航班准备之前和这个航班之后，其实对我们的一些要求他们可能不会说，但是呢，我作为之前的一位空乘，我是可以了解到他们这个时间可能需要我们给他们提供一些什么帮助。那其实从空乘转行到飞行员的这个经历来看的话，其实可能如果有更多的飞行员的群体能够在空乘团队或者是其他的这个航空业的工作人员的这个要求的情况下，能够提供更多的引导，或者是能够提供更多的帮助的话，我相信是有更多的人会愿意加入这个作为飞行员的这个行列。然后包括我个人在怎么能够想到或者是说有勇气去转行呢？其实也是在过去工作的当中认识了很多飞行员的朋友，他们能够给我提供一些帮助，讲一讲他们的故事，他们是怎么成为一名飞行员的。然后这样的话才能让我觉得有信心，我作为一个跨行的这个从业者才可以来到飞行的这个专业，然后成为一名飞行员。
不好意思，我最后一个问题。
我的问题其实只有一句话，就想请两位对想要参加这个见习飞行员计划的内地居民说一句话，对，可以分别说。
你先来。
之前在各种社交媒体上也会看到，经常有人发各种帖子，就是说，我这个履历或者说我这个经验足不足以申请这个国泰的见习飞行员计划？我觉得总结下来就一句话，干就完了。你如果要是不试一下的话，你永远不知道自己能不能过。先投简历，试一试。
好，对于我来说的话，我觉得我们的那个 Captain Chris Campus 是有讲到的，就是说热爱其实是最重要的。我们的后期的培训怎么去开飞机这件事情，是培训的这个过程当中才需要考虑的事情。如果说你对航空业有着这一份就是没有办法停止的热爱的话，我觉得是有机会的。然后包括我们国泰航空的这个招聘启事里面，对于年龄、性别、背景没有任何的要求，唯一要求是年满18周岁，可能是高中毕业的学历就可以了。所以说希望大家如果在镜头后面的这个媒体朋友们也是，如果有兴趣的话，其实也是可以尝试一下，然后加入我们的团队。对，
谢谢大家，谢谢。现在就完结这个环节到这边就完成了。那我们现在会等一下会到下面我们cool lounge，就是我们飞机师准备飞行的地方，又去拍个照。然后今天的那个 media session 就圆满结束。我们先请Robert。